18 years I've been waiting for this hunt. I never thought it would take this long. This has been my dream hunt, to be in Montana with a moose tag in my pocket, no outfitter, no guide. These are elusive animals. We're hoping to find just one legal bull in an endless expanse of wild public lands filled with grizzly bears, wolves, and mountain lions. We've got 12 days to make this happen. 12 days to make the dream come true. Welcome to Shiras. This is the first night of a hunt I've waited my entire life for. We came out this evening to make a quick exploration into a drainage we've been told by multiple people should be holding moose. We've already found a fresh set of tracks.
We're doing a few calls tonight before sundown in hopes that we might be able to lure a bull into this area, and we'll start here tomorrow morning.
With seemingly endless acres of public lands at our disposal, finding a moose could be like finding a needle in a haystack. Prior to heading in, we stopped at the Stillwater State Forest office to learn more about the area we'd be hunting.
The Stillwater State Forest, with its proximity to whitefish, is a great example of multiple use, where we're still able to generate revenue for the school systems through forest management, yet we still provide habitat for wildlife, which then also has benefits for hunting and fishing and other recreational uses. So you're able to kind of do all those different things in one place. A moose permit is not easy to get in this country, and it's amazing. Everyone who gets one always stops at our office and asks us questions about it. The success rate is not the greatest, I think, just because of the difficulty in getting around in our forest. Some folks don't feel like the balance is in their favor, but that's always kind of the constant struggle, is trying to make sure everyone has an equal shot at their enjoyment of the forest.
The first time I ever saw a moose was in Yellowstone. I was mesmerized by the sheer size and majesty of the animal. I've dreamed of this experience ever since. We're climbing high this morning. We're trying to get a vantage point above this lowland marshy drainage.
Looks good down there. Does look good.
It looks like a moose should walk through these open spaces at any time.
When you think of classic moose habitat, what we're up here looking down on is exactly what I would have expected to hunt.
I feel like today could be a really good day.
Looks like the beavers have been doing their work. That just looks beautiful. Yeah, those beaver ponds down there look like an ideal spot. Yeah. Everybody keeps saying go high, but man, but what do we know? Today is our first morning. We're out glassing into open meadows down along a creek. And it feels like it should be as easy as one just wandering out of the pines. All indications are it's going to be a lot harder than that.
This is the most surreal outdoor experience I've ever had.
Homemade moose call. Good old-fashioned road cone. It's the peak of the rut, so these moose should be traveling. So we're either going to catch one in search of a cow, or we're going to be able to call one up into a more open area where we can get a good look at them and hopefully a shot. We came across this peak into a prescribed fire area. Back in the Midwest, we use a lot of prescribed fire on our grasslands. Out here, they're managing the forests using prescribed fire as well. So while I don't like our chances of finding a moose in here today, in a few years, a lucky tag holder is going to want to check this spot. You know, hunting to me is about so much more than just the pursuit of animals. Take this rifle, for example. When I was born, my great-grandparents gifted me a number of U.S. savings bonds. I waited the entire 35 years it took for all those savings bonds to mature. And I wanted to buy something with the money that I would always be able to remember where their money was spent. So I bought the nicest rifle Savage had at the time for what I wanted to do, which was hunt big game. So I bought this 300 Win Mag. And now when I carry this rifle, I feel like I'm carrying a piece of my past along with me. And I'll always know what those gifts were spent on. That's a bear track. It's sort of an eerie feeling knowing that you're not at the top of the food chain when you're hunting out here.
There's a lot of open ground, but plenty of trees for them to feel safe in the cover. This, to me, looks like a place where we should see a moose. Light is fading fast. Didn't see any moose. Saw some country that looks like there should be moose there. I think we have a real challenge on our hands of wrapping a tag on a bull moose in Montana. It's getting light on our second morning. Our intel is beginning to come together. We made it to the meadow we glassed yesterday. We walked a little more than a mile, then we cut through the woods.
looks like a place we could see moose. I don't see it. I can't believe it. The way it happened. We cut down through the woods and we were trying to find a spot to set up. And Jesse said, there's a bull moose right there. There's a bull moose. It's hard to believe this moment is real. A Montana moose. Absolutely magnificent. A real trophy aspect of this hunt is knowing that this moose didn't suffer. A clean, quick kill is what every hunter should aspire to. And that's exactly what happened with this guy. There's gonna be hearts and minds changed about hunting because of the meat from this animal.
So this knife was handmade by my grandpa's great friend and hunting partner, Harold Buffum. My grandpa never used this knife. It sat on a mantle above his fireplace. When he passed away, I wanted that knife more than anything. And today it's gonna take apart a moose. The hard work of taking this moose apart is coming to an end. I gotta notch my tag. It's the last thing we gotta do before we haul them out of here. So October 3rd, a day I will never forget. Oh, there you have it. My once and very likely a lifetime Montana moose tag has been notched and affixed to the carcass, ready for us to haul them out.
That's one of the back straps off of this bull moose. That's a lot of meals right there.
We're filling up these Mystery Ranch game bags and starting to pack out now. Let the exercise continue. In there too. About halfway through the pack out. Coming across marsh. You can see how wet it is, sinking up to my knees. Throw another 100 pounds on. It's daunting. And then the hill here at the end, it might only be a couple 100 yards through there, but it's just the gnarliest, darkest, most broken hillside I've ever climbed. What was it Toby Keith said? I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. I gotta do this at least 3 more times. Antlers last. When you're on one of these backcountry hunts, you gotta get the meat out before you get the antlers out. But we're done. We got it. Logging road to the truck from here on out. Hunting is a privilege. Being able to come to Montana and hunt a moose is a very special experience, one I don't take lightly. The gift Montanans bestowed upon me of of letting me share in the bounty of the wildlife of their state is appreciated. It's a two-way road though. This moose tag didn't come cheap. I began applying for moose, mountain goat, and bighorn sheep in 2004 when I was a resident of Montana. When I left the state to return to the Midwest, I continued to apply, but as a non-resident. I've spent thousands of dollars on unsuccessful applications and bonus points. When I finally drew this tag after 18 years, it cost $1,250. This privilege took patience. Before the hunt began, I bought fuel, food, and groceries in Montana. And once I had my moose down, I was in need of services found in Kalispell and throughout the Flathead Valley. Protecting my moose meat for the long trip back to Missouri was my most pressing concern. I didn't want to keep it on ice for that many days. I was very pleased to find Heritage, a local, family-owned and operated meat processing business. It made me especially happy to see the kids pitching in on the work. In 48 hours, they returned to me over 400 pounds of the best meat you'll ever taste. It was cut, wrapped, and frozen for the long trip home. I was thrilled to pay a fair price for the work they did. After dropping off the meat, our next task was to drop the whole hide off at Glacier Fur Company to have it tanned. The fur company does work the old-fashioned way and has helped me turn my moose hide into a special keepsake from this hunt. I was pleased to support this historic, now woman-owned, local business.
I'm Jan Woods, and this is Glacier Fur Dressing. We tan hides here for hunters, sportsmen, other taxidermists. Hunting's everything to our business. Want to see the drying room? Kalispell, Montana is awesome. It's a very rural area. Lots of hunting, fishing, trapping goes on in this area. We get non-residents that drop hides off, and we can ship them anywhere in the country.
Any moose is an incredible trophy. My bull is certainly one of the most special animals I'll ever take in my life. Preserving this experience with a European mount will help trigger memories of the hunt every time I look at it, or whenever a visitor sees it and asks me to tell them the story behind the skull.
This business has been open since 1972, and I've been here about 17 years. Hunting is the main basis of my livelihood here, and the local economy around here is directly impacted by hunting and out-of-state people coming to visit and local people hunting and that sort of thing. For your moose, we're going to do a European skull mount. It's a kind of a classic way to display a moose. Taxidermy, I feel, is a way to preserve the memory of the hunt and maybe some of the people that you were with. It's more of a souvenir more than anything, and it's a way to look back at the hunt and things that you experienced while you were there, and hopefully it's something maybe you can pass on to your kids or your grandkids or someone like that.
After eating in the forest for the last few days, we were excited to hit the iconic Moose Saloon in Kalispell for some of their famous pizza in the laid-back, throw-your-peanut-shells-on-the-floor atmosphere. Plus, with the name, it felt like a fitting tribute to the adventure we were on.
Brandon and I worked together in the pharmaceutical industry back in the early 2000s. And he loves the outdoors. I mean, I couldn't believe that he wasn't from Montana when I met him, because that's who he is. He's a Montanan inside, whether he knows it or not. I think Charles Russell said it the best. If we're lucky enough to go to heaven, we'll go through Montana on our way. To draw a tag is, it is like pulling a lottery, and it's a big deal in Montana. If you draw a tag, you're kind of the talk of the town, so it's not easy.
We had to make one last stop in town to fix a slow leak in a truck tire before heading back to camp. The service was extra special when they found out we were moose hunters from out of state. I was thankful for the appreciation of our non-resident dollars going into their business.
Another great aspect of traveling to hunt is all the incredible places you come by. Here, Jesse and I are about to enter into Glacier National Park, one of our country's most beautiful public lands.
I started hunting big game as a young man. In fact, my earliest memories are following my dad around the Carson National Forest in New Mexico in search of mule deer. I killed my first elk with a bow and arrow at the age of 15, and I did it on public land. And for me, big game provides an opportunity to explore public lands across this country in pursuit of wild harvested protein. I often say that public lands are my gym, my sanctuary, and my grocery store. You know, when I got the call from Brandon that he had drawn this tag and was looking for a little assistance, I couldn't help but to be ecstatic about the opportunity to come and explore a new landscape, a place I've never been. The hunt was epic, quite frankly. I mean, I hate to use such a powerful word, but I can't think of one that's more appropriate to describe the experience that Brandon and I shared on these public lands in Montana. Everything worked out great. We worked hard. We executed the plan. And I'm so honored to have been a part of it.
So what we have here is the caul fat that came out of the moose that Brandon's harvested. Caul fat is from inside the animal. It's a membrane that goes around the intestines, and it's really unique in that most cervid fat is really waxy and doesn't have a great feel in the mouth. So generally when we're cooking deer, we remove the fat from the animal. But this caul fat is an exception. Because this caul fat renders down really, really nicely and provides an excellent source of moisture for this very lean meat. And so I think what we're going to do tonight is use this caul fat to wrap around that moose tenderloin as we prepare it for dinner. That's going to baste the meat as it cooks, keeping it nice and moist, and 100% Montana moose.
Dice the onion.
Here we're preparing some grouse that we were fortunate to harvest incidentally as we were hunting moose. The grouse here are super plentiful. They're also very plump, and I think they're going to be very flavorful. These grouse are sitting atop a bed of mushrooms and sweet onions, so getting ready for the fire.
There's no amount of money in the world that could buy you this experience. To come out here on our public lands, to cook fresh moose loin and grouse over a campfire and share it with your friends. It's absolutely priceless. It's as good as it gets. You can't get this meal in any restaurant I know of. It's often the animals on the wall that people associate with hunting. But this right here, being able to take that moose and turn it into this meal, along with these grouse, some fresh vegetables, and good company, I really don't know if there's a greater trophy out there to be had.
Congratulations, man.
Great shit. Good job, bro. It's so much fun.
No, that was a blast. I'll see you in Missouri next month.
Yeah? We'll have some moose tenderloin when you come to Missouri.
Sounds good, man.
watched this film and thought to yourself, he's not wearing enough blaze orange, you are correct. While I was never hunting without wearing orange, there were times when I was not meeting Montana's 400 square inch minimum. Prior to this hunt, I reached out to forest managers, biologists, and local game wardens for advice. A week or so after getting home from the hunt, one of the game wardens texted to ask if I had been successful. I texted him the good news with a few pictures. He then told me we had a problem. I had read the regulations stating one must wear 400 square inches of blaze orange, but not knowing what 400 square inches looks like, I just went about my hunt assuming I was fine because I was wearing orange at all times. When temperatures soared above 60 degrees, I shed my vest and just had my hat on. This was lazy and incompetent thinking on my part, and it caused me to be in violation of the state's hunter orange requirement. Clearly, I should have paid more attention to this rule. I made a mistake. I owned it with 100% honesty to the warden. He issued me a ticket for not wearing enough blaze orange, and I immediately paid the $55 fine. At the end of the day, this was a learning experience for me, and hopefully one I can pass on to you.